Well, hello internets, here we are. Have ourselves a vlog for the day in progress. Want to share a little something I got going on. And yeah, welcome to our vlog. Well, over the last few years, I know I've mentioned this a bit in a few of my previous vlogs. I picked up a little bit of an acrylic painting hobby, and I started out with cheap paints from, well, the dollar store, because I didn't know if this whole hobby thing was going to be viable or if I was going to lose interest in it after a few months. Keeping the expenses low, I started out with cheap paints, cheap brushes, and as I quickly found out that cheap brushes only last very short time, sometimes cheap paint doesn't cover very well, and cheap canvases have defects in them that can affect the finished project. So over the last couple of years, I've been updating, upgrading, getting better brushes, better canvases, better supplies. Well, last year I went down to the big box orange paint store and I scored some of their mistints. Essentially, a mistint is where either the customer messes up or the computer messes up and doesn't tint the base paint correctly, and rather it turning out a nice shade of pink, it turns out lime green or whatever. And sometimes you can score a nice orange for a couple of dollars. You know, sometimes you can score, what would it be, a gallon of white or off-white or like beige for a few dollars, which if you're doing paint mixing, paint tinting at home, priming your canvases, it doesn't take long to go through a gallon of disposable kind of paint like that. And I always, when I was in there buying supplies for other projects or price checking or whatever, I'd always check their mistints. And, you know, sometimes you score, sometimes it's a dud, sometimes it's off-white that matches the other 5 off-white colors that you already have at home already, so you just pass them on by. One time last season I went in there and I had some paint colors that I wanted to mix, or wanted to have them mix, and the wonderful paint expert told me that she doesn't recommend me using their paint for my use because that's not what it's meant for. And really, what does it matter to them what I'm using their paint for? You know, within reason, right? If I was drinking it, maybe it might be their problem. If I was using it to dump on somebody and turn them purple so they can chase me around, you know, okay, maybe hurting somebody else. If I want to bathe in a gallon of paint in my bathtub, it's none of their business what I do with it. You know, if I choose to use their paint for painting on canvases rather than painting walls of a house or an apartment or whatever, it's really none of their business. And the thing is, I'm not creating so-called works of art that's going to be around for, you know, 1,000 years after I'm dead. Most of these canvases, be lucky if they survive the next 5 years before I dispose of them myself. They're just here to pass the long nights when I can't sleep. They're just here to bring color to my walls, to keep me from staring at these white walls for the 23 and a half hours a day that I'm awake. They're just here for, you know, something to do, something for me to do. And really, once again, what does it matter to them what I'm doing with their paint? So the old gray-haired paint expert told me that he doesn't recommend me doing that. So I walked out. I went across the street. I went and spent money across the street. They're more than happy to tint the paint for me. They even offered to carry it out to my vehicle. It's like, okay, whatever, you know. You guys don't want my business, then I'll stay away for 6 months or a year. And then here, this very late fall, early winter, I started doing firing up my paint supplies again, looking to restock, looking to see what I needed for this season. And once again, I went to the Big Box Orange because, well, I've shopped there virtually exclusively since they opened in like 2007. And I got the runaround again, got issues with their paint. They told me to bring in a sample of the paints that I want mixed and they can color match. So I went and I spent an evening sampling out probably close to 20 paints that I wanted to get mixed in larger quantities, or better paint that covers better than the cheaper stuff. And I went down, and one of the first things she said to me, a different paint associate said to me, was, well, we can't color match from paint samples that are on paper. Well, what do you think your paint samples are that are on your big wall of paint? They're on paper. So instead, I spent time going through their wall of paint, going through their sample chart, and picking out the closest color they had on their wall of paint samples so they could mix. So I take my 20 some odd samples now, because I found a few colors I liked, to the desk. She takes my samples, scans them into the computer, comes on back and go, yeah, we don't have any of these base colors in stock. So they couldn't even make these paints that I picked. I understand, okay, fine, maybe she's not a complete computer paint expert computer that knows exactly what she has in stock, but why tell a customer to waste 20-25 minutes of their evening picking out paint samples just to turn around and tell them that they don't have the stock because of all the stuff going on in the world, and then alienating this customer so he's never going to buy, potentially never going to buy another drop of paint from your store again. I once again went somewhere else and spent a significant pile of money in another store and got every drop of paint that I wanted, every color that I was looking for. And that's the way it goes. I called down and talked to somebody who said they were the store manager, and I have no idea what's going on in this store, but there is something going on there that's not the way it should be. Even the so-called store manager didn't seem to care about the lack of sale, the lack of customer service, the bad experiences. I understand things are a little chaotic right now. I understand everybody's wearing a mask and maybe they're a little oxygen deprived, but at the same time, that should not matter and that should not affect the customer service. When this is all over, you're going to still need your customers to come and spend money there, not go across the street, not go to another store. In this town, there are 4 or 5 paint stores in this town. So they're not the only game in town to buy paint. I forget if Walmart still sells paint, paint that's able to be mixed, or if all of their paint's pretty much just white and primer because you don't have to have a computer to mix the paint. But at one time, even Walmart sold mixed paint there as well. So some of these stores are going to have to really smarten up on the customer service. At one time, customer service was a big deal, but in the last couple of years, it seems to be, lacking, seems to be slipping. It seems to be getting less and less, to the point where it's almost like customer service is no longer the priority. It's almost like they're trying to drive business to a way, or to an online source, or possibility get rid of the big box stores altogether. It's a little frustrating when you waste your time, waste your fuel, and you get poor customer service from staff that are getting paid a wage that you would have loved to have gotten paid when you worked there. But a little bit of a few things that I got rattling around in this brain, decided to put them here on video, throw them out there on the internet, and it'll be what it is. As always, thanks for watching Maxwell's Vlogs. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.